So it looks like we have a call, it appears. Michael, you are calling to share why you believe in God, and that is because your father's military story. So please go ahead and share with us.
Yes. I just like to first touch on the very touching story you shared about a child dying of cancer. I definitely feel that. I had a number of family members die of cancer, and I very much feel your anguish and your sadness. Like, why did God allow this child to die of cancer? But one of the things that I realized as a Christian is that God allowed his own son to die. He felt the anguish of a parent losing a child. And that's the thing. Like when Jesus Christ died, like people were like, oh, this person died. He must have been a failure. Like, what was the meaning of his death? Through his death, we found eternal life. Through his temporary death, we found eternal life. And, my father, he almost died. And my father is not particularly a religious man, but I always remember like what he told me. You see, in the Gulf War, my father was blown out of a helicopter and he landed feet first and broke both of his legs. And the pain was so excruciating that he fell unconscious and he was in a coma for a couple of months. And alas, he only woke up to the prayers of my grandmother. And he said that he seen God right before my grandmother prayed for him. And that's what really got me into the faith. And at present day, my father is not particularly a religious man, but I still remember that, the miracle that God gave to my family. And at present day, I have two aunties that are dying or dead of cancer. And my auntie Renee, she beat cancer and then decided to stick to smoking again and then got cancer again. Stuff like that really shows us to how addictive we are as human beings to sin and to do wrong rather than to do good and to rebel against what we know is good for us, which is God. Like, I really feel bad for my auntie Renee, and I really wish she beats cancer again because God already gave her a chance the first time and actually did what my auntie Pat couldn't do and beat cancer, only for her not to change her ways and to turn against God and to smoke and then get cancer again. And I've seen her, she's looking very bad. She's in her 70s. I'm afraid she won't pull through. So a lot of times, like the same pain that we feel is the same pain that God felt. When it comes to like issues like childhood cancer, a lot of times the children will die in order so the parent could be inspired to like fight cancer.
Okay.
And,
Can I interrupt you right there?
Go ahead.
That is very, very highly problematic. If I sacrifice my child today for whatever reason, I don't know, poison them or something, does that make it and then I feel the pain of my child dying, and then I feel the pain of losing that child? Does that make it okay for other children to die simply because I felt the pain of my child dying?
Well, here's the thing. The cure to poisoning is not to take poison. Like, I think it's a difference between intentionally, like if you take your child and then you make him smoke 1,000 cigarettes to get cancer.
You said yourself that God killed his son for us. So he did it on purpose. So what is the difference if I do it on purpose and I still feel the pain?
Well, the difference is that you're intentionally like killing your. I don't even know why you would poison your child.
Why did God purposefully kill his son? Nobody asked him to.
Well, God sent his son down to die for our sins, to be a personal representation of how our sin harms us. Jesus took the harm for us. Let's just say, like, I have some family members that are criminals, right? Like, they did a lot of bad stuff. And many times they have gotten pardons, right? they have gotten pardoned for their crimes. The pardon does not erase the crime per se, but it shows that they have remorse. You don't think that anybody who gets pardoned for their crimes got away with the crime, right?
Depends.
Depends on what?
I gotta say something because I'm really.
I can see you have words.
Oh yeah, I have so many words.
This is a lot.
So the first thing I'm going to say is that this God throughout history, so he created the world. So throughout human history, this God has watched every single murder, abuse, sexual perversion of every child that's ever happened. Is that some kind of lesson? And if that's some sort of lesson for somebody, and that is the way that he actively chooses, because he controls everything, he made everything, he set all this shit up, and he's actively choosing to use that as a vehicle to teach people a lesson, to use children as a lesson, children in extreme pain as a lesson for the parent. That's fucking vile. Period.
To inspire. And not just as a lesson, but to inspire.
To inspire. Oh, that's what I need, right? A kid with open fucking lesions. That's not inspiring. That's fucking disgusting. It's immoral. It's unethical. Flat. And here's the thing. God made me this brain.
Well, wait,
he gave me the faculties to understand ethics and morals and how to treat other people, and that hurting people is bad. Period. So he gave me the tools to judge somebody actively hurting a child. No matter, and I don't care what the reason is. There is no justification. There is no reason for that. To deliberately hurt somebody. God didn't have to kill his own kid. God didn't have to make his own kid. He didn't have to kill his own kid. He didn't have to make the idea of sin. He didn't have to do any of that, but he did. He did. And if that is the case, and that's true, that is something that's true, and you believe in that is something, somebody came down and he did that, and he set all this up, that is not something that is worth worshiping. That is evil itself. Period. You don't watch every single kid getting raped by some authority figure or a parent, or being hurt by somebody. That's not, there is no justification for that. There is no excuse for that in my mind. There is no good reason or purpose that happens at all. When somebody has the chance to intervene, either stop it or make it not a thing in the first place. But that's not what we're talking about here. And it is like what is said in the chat. Like what we said in the chat, what you are doing right now is apologizing for child harm. You are excusing childhood cancer. That's what you're doing, excusing in childhood cancer. And I'm happy that your father's military story is something that was good for you. But know right now that God is watching a child starve to death. And their parent is praying over them.
Feed the child.
Period. There is no fucking justification for that at all. End of fucking story. There just isn't. And you know what? Honestly, this is the first time that I've actually gotten really angry. But this is the first time that I've had somebody like say something like this, and I can hardly fucking believe that it's coming out of anybody's mouth.
I know. I'm a little bit shocked because you just shared a very, very personal, harmful story of your nephew passing away from a cancer, and then all of a sudden, it was actually my it's to inspire the parents.
It was actually my auntie, not my nephew, but my auntie Pat died of cancer, and that makes me inspired to fight cancer rather than just mope around and be like, oh, life is unfair, like, oh, woe is me.
I don't have anybody in my family that has died from cancer. I only know one child that's died that I've known him personally, but I still support and I donate as much as I can. Does that I'm just trying to say that I don't need to know the pain to support the cures for childhood cancer. I support the organizations that do that because I don't want any child to die from cancer, because I don't need to see a child to die from cancer in order to be like, hey, I don't want this to die from cancer. if that's what you need as inspiration,
How do you
I just
support
say
them?
I support them by doing things for the organizations that there's an organization called Live Like Bella, and their child passed away from cancer, and they do a lot for research. They are from Miami, and so
Do
I
you
support them
support them
with their social
financially?
media. I donate as much as I can. Yes, I don't have all the money in the world. I wish I did. I wish I could support all the
Do you
organizations.
support that any cent counts, but do you support them like with your labor, like put in work, put in money and stuff like that?
That's right.
You do?
I do.
Okay. So I just like to say, like, a lot of people are harping on child this, child that. Any sort of suffering is sad. If
And God can
a
fix it.
senior suffered, if an adult suffered, if a child suffered, suffering is bad. And many times, to put the me in empathy, you have to go through it. Like, when it comes to me, I was unemployed for 8 months. I had my family literally, I couldn't find a job. I had my family tell me to my face that I was lazy and I was a bum and I'm nothing. Then I found a job and suddenly they're happy go lucky. They're like, oh, yay. But now, since that happened, I will never look down on somebody who's unemployed. I will never believe the lie that they just don't want to find a job, because it happened to me. So
That's
many
good, Ed.
times, stuff have to happen to you. Shit have to happen to you in order to put the me in empathy.
Sometimes,
And
but not
a lot of
always. That's
times,
not a
people
consistent.
who go,
You don't have to experience something to empathize with it. That's literally actually not what the word empathy means. Number one.
it helps.
And number two,
It helps.
like, so you're right. It does help. It helps. If I stub my toe,
It does help.
and just like somebody else, I know what that feels like. But I tell you what, man, I spent a weekend with survivors of religious trauma as a speaker. I spoke out about, I'm speaking about sexuality, which honestly just is nothing compared to what some of the other people were going through. But I haven't been through religious trauma. I didn't have my religious father abuse me or beat me, or I wasn't taught that. I didn't have a fear of hell. I never had a fear of hell.
Well, you're
I've never been
absorbing your
beaten.
trauma.
But I tell you what, no, but I
You're
tell you what,
absorbing your
man,
trauma.
you want to know what makes me, what that spurred me on when it came to being an activist. Number one, for the separation of church and state, but number two, to make sure that people that are coming out of religious trauma, which I did not experience, have a safe place to land. So I support both financially, and when they need fundraisers recovering from religion, I literally run an entire chapter for the separation of church and state, which supports ex-fundies as well as protects both believers and non-believers. I support all sorts of things that I have not experienced myself. That's ridiculous to say that you so the only way you would support a cancer charity is if you've gone through cancer yourself. Frankly, that makes you sound like a selfish jerk.
Hold on, that's not my point.
That's
not my point.
Now you can talk.
I'm glad that you allowed me to talk. Okay, so number one, cancer is a little bit extreme. I'm not saying that you need to have cancer in order to have empathy for a person that has cancer.
You kind of did say that.
My point is that I'm responding to what she said. My whole point is that there's different types of empathy. It's easier to have empathy for somebody that has cancer, but many times it's hard to have empathy for the bum on the street, because before I was that bum on the street, I kind of look down on people. That's just me. I'm just making it personal towards me. So I'm not. So if you have empathy for somebody who has cancer, congratulations. You have like a very easy like empathy path. But I'm saying, like, there's different types of empathy. Of course, it's nobody's fault if they have cancer. Well, actually, no. If you smoke, then you have cancer, then it's kind of your fault. But on average, it's not really anybody's fault if they have cancer. But many people feel like it's their fault if you're poor and you're impoverished. like lick up your boots and go get a job, or pull up your bootstraps and go get a job. And much of the time, I had that mindset. And many people would have this mindset all throughout their lives until they went through some shit. And I just like to say, it's great that you believe in the separation of church and state, but many states that had no religion whatsoever still hated gay people.
There's
Cuba
no
hated
state
gay
that doesn't
people.
have
The
any religion whatsoever.
USSR,
Like that's
the
not even a thing that
USSR
exists.
hated gay
Literally
people.
not a thing that exists. What you just stated.
Wait. So Cuba didn't hate gay people?
No, are we talking about the states like the United States? There's religion in every single state.
You're talking about a whole population.
Yeah.
In Cuba. There's no religion in the USSR. They ban religion.
Okay, but listen.
China.
Here we are. You are trying to say that people without religion don't have empathy. And here you are telling us right away that
I'm
you
not
did
saying
not
that.
have Then what are
Don't
you talking
call
about
me my
Cuba and the
position. I'm
USSR
not
not
saying that.
having? Okay, so explain, what do you mean by, well, the USSR and Cuba don't have religion and they hate gay people. What do you mean by that?
So they were atheists that still persecuted gay people, because
Okay.
the point about bigotry is that it's not religiously based necessarily. It's about the person. You can be a bigot and hate gay people and still be an atheist. You can be a Christian. You can be
I agree.
Islamic.
We agree there.
I know that you two probably have a religious rose-colored glasses and think like all homophobes are religious people, when there are homophobic people that are atheists. Like,
No,
hey,
trust
I
me.
know some of them.
Hold up a second. This whole past week, I've been having a really big argument with a person in the atheist community who's being extremely transphobic. There are transphobic,
who's being extremely
bigoted
homophobic?
atheists.
Did you say homophobic?
Transphobic, but yeah, same thing, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a difference between transphobia and homophobia, but
Yeah,
I'll let somebody much more detailed explain that. I mean, until recently, people really didn't care that much about trans people like that. But there's always been heavily homophobia. There was homophobia in Cuba, homophobia in USSR, in all atheist states. Well, except for a few of them, there was homophobia. There were laws that were killing them. Like, you can look this up. In the USSR,
nobody's arguing with you there. What is your point?
I don't know exactly where we're going with this.
I personally know atheists that are homophobic. There's no, you're not making a point here.
And we say that we agree. Agree that homophobia and bigotry is everywhere. It's not necessarily a religious thing. But we were talking about empathy here. We were talking about
cool. Yeah.
I don't know how we got here.
Okay, cool. I was just pointing it out for maybe not you, but maybe for your audience, that just because you see most people who are bigoted be religious doesn't mean that religion caused bigotry.
No, I don't see that at all. I don't even know where you're getting that from. I don't think that religious people are necessarily bigots. Not at all. In fact, earlier in the show, we were talking about how people can be good and be religious. There's plenty of progressive churches out there. In fact, we are actually looking to make sure that we're partnering in, like with my own chapter, to make sure that they understand that we're protecting them as much as we are our own non-beliefs. So no, that's ridiculous to think that. And actually, I might dare to say it's pretty bigoted for you to make the assumption that atheists view all religious people as bigots, because I know that there's a ton of atheist people that do not.
Some atheist people do.
Correct. And some religious people do. So discussion ended. There's no more debate here. We agree there. What was your point?
Let me clarify this. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Just to clarify, because you were very speedy. You're saying that some atheists believe that all religious people are bigoted, or because you were like very speedy with your words. I'm trying to clarify.
No, I don't think, honestly, I don't think religion has anything to do with bigotry, or very little to do with bigotry. I think People
Okay.
decide to be bigots on their own. Now, where I was questioning you is your statement, which you did say, and then you walked back, that you had to go through something to empathize with it, which is not the case. And I think that's where you started to get muddled with this whole religion bigotry thing. But atheist, the word atheist literally just means no theism. We just don't believe in a higher power. There are atheists that are transphobes and homophobes and racists. There are atheists that are complete fucking dickheads. I have a Mormon couple, I don't know, a few hundred feet from me, who are about the nicest, sweetest people I've ever met. We exchange Christmas cookies every year. They give my son, who's celiac, this year they gave him a whole pack of gluten-free Oreos because the lady was the cutest thing. Because the lady just discovered that that's what they were, and she knew he couldn't eat the cookies, so she wanted to make sure he had a treat. I think one of the most confusing and upsetting things about people feeling like they have to believe in some kind of supernatural deity, religion, or some shit to be a good person is ridiculous, because there are atheists that are also just as nice as that freaking Mormon couple right down the street. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with it. If you're a good person, you're a good person because you care about people. It has nothing to do with what you believe. You can believe in freaking unicorns. You can believe in aliens coming down to suck your brains, or adrenochrome, or whatever the fuck you want to believe in. If you're a good person, that means you care about other people. It has nothing to do with what you believe in. And if you need a God watching down on you to make sure that you're a good person and you're not murdering and raping people, that says a lot more about you than it does about your belief system.
Well, if you want to be a good person, or if you want to believe that good people exist, don't be a Christian, because Christianity says that we're all sinners and we're all fallen and we're all tainted.
Oh, look, we found something else we agree on.
That's why we're atheists, I guess.
Atheists believe that all Christians are tainted and not good.
No,
we believe that you believe that, and it's ridiculous and it's harmful and it sucks. Who the hell wants to grow up thinking that they were born
you don't
fucked
believe
up?
that? Hold on. So you don't believe that all people are somewhat tainted?
Tainted
and not
by
so
what?
good?
I think that people are human beings, and I think they're flawed. Do I think they're tainted from birth because some chick ate an apple in some pretend book? No, I don't. Do I believe that all people are tainted?
Forbidden fruit.
No,
But hold on.
that's
Let's
ridiculous.
circle back.
That all people are tainted.
You're saying a lot of stuff.
No, I don't believe that there is a perfect human being. It doesn't mean that I believe they're born sinners or bad or tainted in any way. I just think that people make mistakes that they learn.
You don't believe that people are, because to be a sinner just means that you're not perfect. Like, that's what it is. To be a sinner just means that you're not perfect. So you don't believe that
that's not true.
You're born.
Because sin has a very specific meaning. What does sin mean to you? What is the word? How do you define the word sin?
It means missing the mark. Sin means missing the mark.
Missing a mark? Whatever. I don't think that's what
missing the mark. That's what sin means. It's Greek for missing the mark.
Okay, I think you have the definition a little bit wrong there. All right, this is from the Oxford Dictionary.
What is sin to you? Could I ask you what is sin to you?
I'm pretty sure there's 7 deadly things, right?
I am attempting to tell you what sin is. So listen for a second.
Tell me what it is.
I am about to tell you, Michael. Just take a deep breath for a second and listen, because I'm about to tell you what sin means to me. And sin, and I agree with this definition I'm about to read from the dictionary. Sin is an immoral act considered to be transgression against divine law. So you have to break a biblical or divine law in order to sin. So by being born a sinner means that you already broke a divine law. How? How do you break a divine law at birth?
Okay, these beeps are really annoying to a person who got autism. I got autism, but there's thousands of ways to break a divine law. I mean, you could be greedy, you can be angry. Jesus Christ says if you're angry with a person, you have murdered them in your heart. Have you ever been angry? Well, yes, you have.
I am asking about a newborn. How does a newborn, by the act of passing through the birth canal, how does that cause them to sin?
Well, usually when a newborn is born, usually they are born angry. Like when I was born angry. I was born crying. I was born blind, and anger is sin. So that's how a newborn sins. We all sin.
I literally cannot with this. I'm trying to be serious. I'm really trying, but that is such
I
a
am
silly
serious.
concept. Okay, so you seriously
You're cutting
believe?
out real bad.
How do you know babies
you
are
don't
born
believe that
angry?
So you don't believe that newborns are angry? You don't believe that blind babies who are hit out of nowhere is angry?
No, I think they are
Oh,
confused.
wait, you don't
Confusion is not anger.
what? You wouldn't be angry if you were blind and you were hit on the backside?
I don't think they do that anymore, number one.
I don't think they do that, buddy.
Number two,
Okay, so
if a
how does it
baby
make
is born
babies
blind,
breathe?
listen,
They
no,
don't hit them
listen,
in the
listen,
backside?
listen. I'm gonna start right here. Listen. If a baby is born blind, right? So it's coming out of the wound, it doesn't know that it's blind because it's never seen anything. It can't be angry. It can't. I'm almost now. I'm starting to think this is a joke.
Okay, I have another question.
No,
Listen, I have a
this
question
is
for
the
you,
thing.
Michael.
What is wise to God is foolish to men. So you can think it's a joke. You can laugh on. It's fine. I'm fine with that. Maybe it's because of me. People say that I naturally sound funny. I don't know, but I don't take your afterlife as a joke because you're going to be somewhere for eternity. You can be in the clouds with us, or you could be in the fires with the Lord
I
of all
would be
sin.
eternally angry because I would be arguing with you the whole time.
Okay,
No,
listen.
I'm not going to hang out with you. Like as soon as you well, first of all, you have to be in heaven first. So accept Jesus.
I'm cool. I actually
I'm
wrote an
sorry,
entire series
buddy,
about
but
not
I'm
having
not going to see you in an afterlife then.
There
It's
is no
cool.
afterlife.
You're not going to argue with me.
I'm not sure that this conversation that you're having is very conducive to you going to heaven, Michael. I don't think so.
You're very
But
angry.
that aside,
No, it's fine. It's fine. I have preached the gospel to thousands of people and only seen a few people actually come to Jesus. So that's fine. I mean, I'm not doing it to earn like my salvation. It's earned by the cross. Not by me winning you over. Only God can win you over.
you say
Then why
you
doesn't
preach.
he?
So, excuse me?
Then why doesn't he?
Why doesn't he? I mean, he has the whole eternity to win you over. Just because he haven't done it yet doesn't mean he won't.
So I have a question for you. You say you have preached to thousands of people, but only convinced a few. That means that you're not very effective at what you're doing. Don't you think God will be upset with you because you haven't done your work very successfully?
No, because God doesn't care for work. He cares about you loving him.
So why are you preaching to thousands of people to convert them if God doesn't care about it? Why do you care about it?
No, God tells you to preach. So he does care, but he cares about you doing the work, not necessarily you being
say
successful.
The work doesn't matter. 2 sentences ago, you say the work doesn't matter. Now you say the work matters. Which one is it?
It doesn't matter with the personal relationship with God, but you're still supposed to do work for him.
But you're not being successful at your job for God.
There's a difference at doing something and then being successful at something.
Okay,
like,
but
there's a difference between hard work, productive work.
If you do a job and you get paid for it, it is expected that you do a good job. You're not going to get paid for doing a shitty job. So why is God going to reward you with eternal life if you're doing a shitty job?
Well, here's the thing. The president of the United States, I don't know where you come from.
Yeah, we are. We're in the United States. I believe Erin is too.
Okay, cool. You sound a bit international. Okay, so the president of the United States, regardless to his job, will still get paid for the next 4 years. That's me. I'm getting paid for the next 4 years, regardless of whether I'm a good president, whether I'm a bad president, whether I'm Trump, whether I'm Obama. And because of my position, I want to be the best. But regardless to what I do, I will still be the president. And because I'm honored,
I mean, that is a good comparison, because the president that we currently have is doing a very shitty job and he's still getting paid. So yeah, we're in agreement there.
I agree with you. But still, he's the president by the will of God. I'm not saying he's a good guy or a bad guy, but God knew 2,000 years ago that he would be the president. And me personally, I don't like none of the presidents. I think all of them are rapists, even Obama.
Okay, we're not gonna go there right now. We're not gonna go there. Let's not go there. Let's go back to
I'm not. I'm just keeping
no, that's
it
fine.
real.
I don't want to get political on. That's fine. So I did have a question. Oh yeah, go ahead, Erin. You go first.
Oh, nothing. I just to go back to my original point, which kicked off a major tangent on all sorts of stuff, is the very fact that God has designed the system of sin and reward and punishment, and is allowing and watching and using suffering as a teaching device, according to you, a teaching device, inspirational advice, childhood cancer, as inspiring people to fight cancer that God actually made. There is no way for me to twist any of that story, any of that idea, even if we remove all of the Christianity of it and just take a higher being or a deity that created and designed and set up all this stuff. There is no way to paint that being as a moral or ethical thing. Period. End of story. So my position, where I don't care about sin, I don't care about works, I don't care about sin, I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is other human beings and making sure that they are okay, and that I am doing my part, what I can, to make this world, this earth, this place that we know exists right here in this moment better, or at least not make it shittier. So as far as I'm concerned, if there's a God up there who decided that cancer was the way he was going to get his message across, which obviously fails because cancer turned me into an atheist. If that's his way of getting his message, child rape, child starvation, murder, abuse, people living their entire lives in abject poverty and misery. If this is a God that designed and allowed that stuff to happen, he is not worth worshiping. Period. And I don't care if that means that he's a real thing and he's going to send me to hell to burn forever. Fine. I would rather burn forever than worship such a vile entity. And that's really the last point I need to make. I really have nothing else to say to this particular person who started this conversation by apologizing or making excuses for childhood cancer and death. There is no excuse. There's no justification. That's really that's the last thing I have to say to this caller, period.
Anything else you want to add, Michael, before we
I'd just like to say I don't have to apologize for child cancer. I didn't cause it. Maybe the many cigarette companies that push cigarettes to children can apologize, which we have never banned cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, because 9-year-olds are out there smoking chain, like, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Erin
he was 2.
didn't even say,
He was 2.
Erin,
2.
yeah.
2 when he was diagnosed.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
2.
Erin, we all know, like, all these 1-year-olds are already out there buying, like, packs, right? Yeah. Also, you didn't even say it was lung cancer.
And why doesn't God just get rid of cigarettes? If that's the answer to getting rid of cancer, why doesn't God just get rid of cigarettes? He could go poof and they'd be all gone.
Well,
because he's trying to teach us a lesson. Fuck that guy.
You can't get rid of. Hold on, you can't get rid of cancer. It's just a naturally It's just a natural process of.
Oh, see, what's
wait.
frustrating is that you're so close. Like you're so close. It's like edging. It really is. It's like edging. It's like you come right up to the point of it, and it's like, ooh, you're almost there, and then you just like run away.
So is it
God
nature
created
no-
or is it God?
Oh,
What? So you're saying that it comes from
Yes.
nature and not from God? What? How does that work?
well, God set forth nature. God set forth Mother Nature. Like earthquakes are a natural process. He can still cause earthquakes.
But listen, you just say that God cannot listen. You just say that God cannot take away cancer because it's from nature, and so apparently he cannot do anything about things he created. Yet you also
There's nothing
said that God uses childhood cancer to inspire the child's parents. So how does he use this thing created by nature that he cannot stop?
Hold on. I want to address two things. There's nothing that God can't do. So
You just said he cannot take away cancer.
I never said he can't do that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, you did say that.
Okay. Then say it. Say it to me. Say it right now. God can. Yes, he can take away cancer. Say it, please. So we are
God
clear.
can take away cancer. And he did it with my auntie Renee the first time.
Okay, so he chose to kill a 2-year-old with cancer because he cried when he was born. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what 2-year-old or what case you're talking about. So I'm not going to officially.
Erin's nephew.
I don't know about.
My nephew was diagnosed at 2 years old with neuroblastoma, which is not caused by any kind of outward thing. It was something he was born with. He spent the next 6 years of his life going through various cancer treatments. By the way, do actually donate to several different cancer charities. And when he died, he had no teeth.
Your nephew?
I'm sorry?
Yes, her nephew.
Would you have
he was asking if he was your nephew. Yeah.
And I gotta say there were prayer circles. It's one of the last times I prayed. All that stuff. Churches, hospitals. His parents weren't assholes. They were religious, actually. And he died with open wounds. He died with no hair and no teeth. Is that because maybe he was angry when he was born? Is that what it was? Maybe his head was squeezed too tight. I don't know. When he was born, so he was angry. So he was a sinner. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was baptized. I know he was baptized. Actually, his mother was Catholic, so was his father. So tell me what lesson God was trying to teach there. It's fucking vile. What really just incenses me is that you don't see how incredibly disgusting there is. There's no way to twist this into any kind of moral or good thing. There just isn't. And what you keep trying to do is you keep trying to lay blame on it's bullshit. I tell you what the fucking answer is. The answer is there is no God, there is no heaven, there is no afterlife, there's no fucking souls. All there is right here, right now. If you're wasting your life waiting for fucking clouds, dude, I feel really fucking sorry for you. And if you're apologizing for some deity that you worship because you're hoping he's gonna give you some special place in the fucking cloud, whatever.
Excuse me. You don't know me. You don't know me. Miss,
no,
you don't know me.
Said.
I went to several.
All we know is what you're saying.
You don't know me.
We know what you're saying, though. You're saying that God saved your auntie because, I don't know, maybe she prayed well enough, but God did not save a 2-year-old because, I don't know, he cried when he was born. Or because
but it's not just that he was a lesson. He went through 6 years of pain before he died.
To inspire his parents.
Would you have aborted him?
Would I have aborted? What does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with nothing.
Okay. No. Just answer the question. Just answer the question. Would you have aborted him?
Well, it wasn't my kid. It wasn't
her child. It's her nephew. Her sibling's child.
Okay. Let's say that the child was in you and you knew that he would have been born with cancer. Would you have aborted him?
I can answer that. I can answer that because my child was diagnosed with a fatal. Listen, because I'm answering your question. So let me answer your question, please. And thank you. My child was diagnosed while I was still pregnant, around 22 weeks, with a potentially fatal condition, and we were offered an abortion. I was pro-abortion at the time, but I decided not to because I didn't want to. Because I was like, I'm still willing to have my baby be born, and whatever happens. Okay, did that answer your question? What was your follow-up with this? I'm curious. Just
Well, no, you didn't, because the question wasn't directed towards you. But why would you give birth to a baby that you know would be in pain and could possibly die? I'm interested.
because I didn't know.
You knew that the baby would be in pain.
No, I didn't know. No, I was told that it was. It was my choice to either keep the baby or have the abortion. There was no guarantee.
I like that you say, hold on. I like that you say it's your choice and not our choice. You did have a husband, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Why
it
does
wasn't
that
his
matter?
choice. It wasn't his baby. It wasn't his choice. It wasn't his baby. You all aren't out of each
I am
other.
so sorry. Am I hurting your masculinity right now?
No.
You know what? He should
not.
empathize by pushing a watermelon out of his ass, and then he would know what it fucking felt like. And maybe he could be in a better position to make that choice.
What does my choice have anything to do with children suffering? Can we move on?
How come it's not our choice? It's my choice. How come it's not our choice?
We're still trying to talk about why God puts kids in this position in the first place.
Yeah, let's
That's
focus
what you
for a
keep
second.
dodging.
I understand you have ADHD. I have ADHD. My brain goes in tangents. So let's stay focused. What is the next step? So you were telling me.
I can get that, but I'm just interested in your psychology. How come you don't speak? It was our baby. It was our choice. Did your husband have anything to do with the cancerous baby that you knew would be born in pain?
Because he's in the other room and he can answer that question himself. And I don't want to speak for my husband
Bring him
right now.
to the phone. Bring him to the phone. Because I'm sick of this idea that
this is a live call-in show. We cannot just randomly bring another guest. He will have to be a third caller or something. That's silly, man.
Give him my personal number. Fuck it. I want to talk to him. But I'm just interested in this psychology. I'm just interested in this idea that you're your baby's own personal hero for not killing him, even though you knew he was going to be born in pain.
Every single human being that is born is going to experience pain. Should we abort them all? Should we no longer birth children? Tonsils.
Can you say that again?
Having a tooth taken, they're going to be in pain.
Okay, but your baby would be in extremely more pain since it had cancer. You realize that, right? Okay, cool. So you knew that you would bring a child in that would be in extremely more pain than average, yet you did it. Why did you do that? Well, why did you
I already answered that question, actually. Maybe if you listened for a second, you will hear that I answered that question earlier. My answer, and I'll repeat it because you're clearly not listening, was that I chose to have the baby because medical science is great, all right? They can determine a lot of things. However, the specific conditions that we were facing, which was not cancer, okay, yeah, it's a little bit different. It was a heart condition, and the other one was called trisomy 18, which is not compatible with life. And generally, the babies are already born having passed away. So you're giving birth to a stillborn who's not going to suffer. But so, yes, I did know my baby was going to have a heart condition, but the prognosis was pretty good. With a surgery or two, the baby will be fine. So yes, I chose to put my baby through the surgeries. Surprisingly, it was also what got me out of religion, right? But again, pretty much most people are going to have some type of surgery at some point in their lives, all right? Whether it be, again, it could be ear tubes, it could be laser eye surgery. It could be having teeth extracted. It could be having your tonsils taken out, which normally you have in childhood. There's all kinds. You can have broken bones because our bones are pretty shitty. So yeah, there's lots of suffering that happens to every single human being that is born. And yes, I did choose to put my kid through that. And by the way, my kid is 14 years old now. So the scans were actually wrong. And my kid did not have trisomy 18. So I chose I'm pretty sure I made the right choice. I don't regret it. And I don't think my kid hates me for having put them through 2 open heart surgeries either.
I would hate if your kid hates you for allowing him to live. That's horrible. But
so you think my child would prefer to die? You think my child would have preferred to be aborted?
Well, if your child was aborted, it wouldn't prefer anything. So I don't know.
No, right now.
In heaven?
I say right now. I say, do you think my child right now will prefer that I had aborted them so they didn't have to have some surgeries?
I don't know your child, so I wouldn't speculate on that. But I don't want any child to die.
How about you? If you were born with a heart, your mother knew this and had you, and then you had 2 open heart surgeries, would you hate her and would you demand that she had why the fuck didn't you abort me? Would you be like that or not?
No, I wouldn't. If I wanted to die, I would kill myself, not wish that my mother aborted me. What are you talking about? Like, I don't really get your question. Maybe I'm missing something, because I think if people wanted to die of abortion, then if people want to die, period, they would just kill themselves, not wish like, oh, I wish my mom aborted me. Like, no, they would just kill themselves. But, you're okay with dying of their own.
You are the one that brought up abortion. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know why you brought up abortion, but I'm just engaging in your conversation.
Well, I'm anti-abortion and I'm pro-life. And I'm wondering, why would your doctor tell you to kill your kid, abort your kid, if he had a treatable heart disease? I'm a little bit confused.
Because it was an option. You ask the question yourself. You ask Erin, would you abort your child if you knew that they were going to suffer? So you're acting like it's an option.
And can I just point out that you brought up abortion?
So I don't know why
you're avoiding answering the question as to why God allows babies who in my belief system are innocent, a 2-year-old. You didn't want to answer the question why the God that you believe in, who's so great, who saved your aunt and your dad, would allow this to happen. That is when you brought up abortion. So, and this has been your tactic the entire time, is as soon as you get nailed down on trying to answer for the ethics and the morality, or the lack of your God, you change the subject and you bring up something else. And not only that, but you're also bringing up things that are deliberately enraging. You knew that you were trying to spark a certain answer when you brought up abortion. You knew that you were trying to so if you want to talk about psychology, because frankly, most of what we've been arguing about is semantics and not psychology. But what you have been doing this entire time is avoiding answering the question why the God that you believe in is so great, that created everything, controls everything, can do everything, allows this kind of thing to happen. And what you keep doing is you keep putting the onus of sin and the onus of morality and empathy on human beings, when what we're actually trying to discuss with you and pry out of you, which we failed to do, is to answer why the fuck you would worship such a vile being that has obviously no sense of ethics or morality as us human beings understand it. But that's the question that you just keep avoiding. So that's why abortion was brought up. I don't think you give two fucks about what we think about abortion or what we think about Obama or Trump or whether they get paid for doing their work or you doing good works or whether there's you have avoided every single attempt.
Or what my husband has to say.
Yeah, that's insane. You didn't ask the question of her husband. You asked it of her. And then when she used the wrong pronouns, you got upset. Go fucking figure.
All right, so let's try it again. Here's the question. It's a very clear question, and I want you to answer it, Michael. If God, you said God can you said God can take away cancer, childhood cancer. Why does he not take away childhood cancer?
Well, it's an individual by individual basis. And I can't speak on a whole of millions of cases that I have never really had contact with.
Okay. We're not talking about individual cases. We're talking about God. And you keep changing the subject because you can't answer the question. Because the only logical answer is that he's a sadistic narcissist.
That he chooses to torture a 2 to 8 year old, a child that he chooses purposefully, that he knew 2,000 years ago that he was going to torture this 2-year-old for 6 years. That is what you're saying.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that the 6-year-old died, and I'm very apologetic. And I'm not trying to make y'all. I'm not trying to make y'all mad. You are going to be mad regardless. You were mad to the start of this whole interview or conversation or whatever, and nobody can make you mad. You're making yourself mad, and I don't want to make you mad because when you're angry you murder people and you're pro-abortion.
Erin, you're killing children right now, Erin. Fuck you, Erin. All right, Michael.
Oh my God.
A little bit out of hand. You know what? I don't think we're gonna get an answer out of you. I appreciate.
I tell you what, when I was mad in the strip club, you know what I used to do? I used to drop gum in people's hair. So with that, dude, I'm I don't know. It was actually pretty terrible. It's pretty mean. I shouldn't have done that, but I did do it anyway. That's what I did when I was mad. Now I murder people fictionally, but I have to get to the point where I need to take my exit. I'm about an hour and a half away from dinner. And so the term you're looking for might be, instead of angry, might be hangry. So
that's what, you know what? When you have an answer to our question of why God doesn't stop childhood cancer, call back. We listen. All right. Thanks for your call, Michael. Have a good one. Wow. I'm gonna need a drink after this one. Go.
So I know, and I'm waiting for New Year's to have a drink. But I am gonna smoke a big fat bowl, which is literally like sitting right here because I am in California. But no, he was doing that on purpose. There's no way he wasn't doing that on purpose.
There's no way. There's no way.